Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Osteoarthritis Action Alliance Lunch and Learn webinar for May 15th, 2019. Thank you for joining us this month. Today, we are pleased to offer a panel discussion featuring Osteoarthritis Action Alliance staff members, Mary Altpeter and Serena Weisner, along with Allison Harris from Oregon State University Cooperative Extension and Anita Kanakaris from the Detroit Area Agency on Aging. In addition to giving an overview of Walk with Ease, the speakers will discuss the instructor-led versus self-directed formats and share some tips that can help make programs successful. Today's presentation is titled Notes from the Field, Implementing Walk with Ease.
Okay, then I guess I will start. This is Mary Altpeter. As Katie said, I'm part of the Osteoarthritis Action Alliance team. And I'm going to start with an overview of the Arthritis Foundation's Walk with Ease program, in case some of you are not familiar with it. It comes in two formats, either a group format that is instructor-led or self-directed, where you do the program on your own. Everybody who participates in Walk with Ease gets the Walk with Ease workbook. The workbook contains a chart of what one is expected to do for the 6 weeks of the program. It also includes health information about arthritis, symptom management, how to safely warm up and cool down your joints before and after walking. It includes stretching exercises, strengthening exercises for lower extremities, also various motivational tips and strategies and self-assessment tools. As I said, the self-directed program, you do it on your own with a guidebook, but with that chart, it can guide you through what to be doing each week. For the instructor-led version, it meets 1 hour, 3 times a week for 6 weeks. So it's an 18-session program. In each session, there is a pre-walk discussion covering various topics related to exercise and arthritis. And the amount of time of the class really depends on the walking capabilities of the participants. The walking time of the program may be as low as 10 minutes or as much as 40 minutes, but including the warm-up and cool-down. For the instructor-led part of the program, instructors must take the Arthritis Foundation Walk with Ease leader training, which is available online. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, the Alliance has a 5-year grant from the CDC to implement the Walk with Ease program around the country with the goal of reaching 25 states. You can see here on this map, we had 2 rounds of grantees in our first and second year of the grant. Allison was in our first cohort, Oregon State University, and Anita was in our second cohort from Detroit Area Agency on Aging. Now, in addition to the states that are colored in here in green that represent those states where we funded programs, and in some cases there's multiple programs in a state, we are currently also working with the state of Washington, with South Dakota, and we will be bringing on board Missouri shortly. So we are very close to reaching our group of 25. I'm going to hand over now the webinar to Serena.
Thanks, Mary. Hi, everyone. This is Serena Weisner. I work with Mary at the Alliance on the Walk with Ease expansion initiative. And for our Lunch and Learn today, we're really going to kind of hand the floor over to our wonderful grantees who have agreed to talk about their experience. But we are going to do it in a little bit of a question and answer type format, interview style. We're going to start off with Allison Harris at Oregon State University. And she's going to start just by sharing briefly about their Walk with Ease initiative, and then we'll go into a couple questions for her. So Allison, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, thank you. So in Oregon, we operate 3 versions of the Walk with Ease program. We do in-person instructor-led courses, and those are led by OSU Extension faculty and staff, but we also partner with community organizations to deliver those programs. We offer a self-directed program, and then our mini grant that we received from the Osteoarthritis Action Alliance supported the creation and implementation of online virtual classes. So to this point, we've taught 4 classes, and we plan to start our next one in 2 weeks.
Excellent. So one of the things that we thought was really great about the work that you're doing, one of the many things that you're doing that we have really tried to emulate from our end and promote, was the idea of having weekly email engagements for those who are doing the program in a non-group instructor-led format. So can you tell me a little bit about what the catalyst was for creating those weekly emails?
Yeah, definitely. So really the self-directed with the weekly emails, that really came out of us looking for a way to better engage our self-directed participants. So prior to implementing the weekly emails, our self-directed program was very hands-off. It was really just that participants, they registered online, they received a book in the mail, and then they got a welcome email. And a few weeks later, we sent them an evaluation link. So it was very unstructured. It really relied on them to go through it independently. And we realized that our evaluation numbers were really low. And that started to bring into question our engagement level. How well are we reaching these people? Are they actively staying engaged in the program and finishing? And so that was something that concerned us. And we thought, well, how can we better support them? And then the other side of the coin is that our state is very rural and frontier. And many people face barriers to attending classes. So even if they do have a class offered in one of those counties, we have 10 frontier counties, and that means we have less than 6 people per square mile. And so even if there is a class in that county, oftentimes travel time and transportation can be a barrier, and then there's very limited classes. And so if they're not able to engage in person, we wanted to have a really strong option or version of the program for them to engage in outside of that. So that's really where the weekly emails came into play.
That's wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit about the types of things that you include in those emails?
Yeah, definitely. So the way that we structure it currently is that it runs in monthly cohorts. And so we send a welcome email that has information about the program, welcoming them, and we send them a book in the mail. And then they receive 6 weekly emails that include information from the book, but also what's presented in the classes. So we attach the posters as an attachment. We link to videos and tools and resources from the Arthritis Foundation. When we get to the week about stretching and strengthening, it's really helpful to link to videos for them to actually watch those being modeled for them so that they can practice them safely and effectively in their home. And so we're really just adding support where they would be getting this in the instructor-led in-person class, but making sure that they have access to all that same information in their home.
And what has been the response to those emails?
It's been mostly positive. I think we did see an increase in the evaluation responses we were getting, but it was a little bit of a smaller increase than I think we hoped for. And so the lesson there is that it's just really challenging to get people to follow up with evaluation, especially in an independent or self-directed program, and with it being online. And so we're looking ahead at how can we continue to strengthen this program, how can we build on it? And so we've learned after a year of doing this, right now all the emails are being sent out manually. And so we've learned that we need a more sophisticated way to do this. And so we're looking for an automated program. Because one of the issues we faced with this is that we have them in monthly cohorts to minimize the amount of time it takes to reach everybody. Because if we had individuals on all different days signing up, that follow-up process becomes very burdensome. And so we're learning that with that monthly cohort style, it works very well, but then those who sign up in the middle of the month are either behind a couple weeks or they have to wait a few weeks to start, which can be a challenge to keep them engaged. So we're looking at ways to get that automated so that people can start the program immediately, get plugged right in. And then the other side of it is with those online virtual classes, we've received a lot of positive feedback. And really that's another version of the self-directed program. And so moving forward, we'd like to record those sessions and include those videos as part of our self-directed program so that participants can receive a lecture to support the information that they're receiving in the book.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So can you tell me a little bit more about the difference between self-directed and the virtual class and what might lead someone to sign up for one over the other?
Yeah, so our virtual classes, one of the big differences is our self-directed program is ongoing. It's all year long, rolling enrollment, and so every month we start a new cohort. The virtual classes we have more limited access to. We've been doing about 2 to 3 a year, so they're not always occurring, and so some of it has to do with timing. And then the virtual classes, we're holding them live, so they're instructor-led, webinar-based classes, and we do record the sessions so folks can access them, but we do have some, if people can't access the live, if they're not available or free to be in the live class, they might prefer to do the self-directed program. So that's one of the big differences. The self-directed program, we were doing 12 sessions of, now we've moved down to 6 because we had some participant retention issues, but it really just depends. We do have some participants that just prefer to be independent study. They don't want that in-person aspect to it. And so that might be a better fit for the self-directed program. Mm-hmm. But looking ahead, just with the staff time it takes to do the virtual classes, we've had really great responses, but we are looking at ways to make the program more sustainable, and having a trained leader facilitate the virtual classes does take a lot of time. And so that's where we're looking to kind of merge the programs to make a really, really strong self-directed version.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell us a little bit currently about how you are recruiting participants for these programs?
Yeah, so we have a listserv, and so we utilize the listserv. We send out flyers. Most of it's digital marketing, so it's getting sent out to all of our extension offices, all of our community partners, all of our listservs. We send it to the self-management listserv in Oregon. We also send it to the Arthritis Foundation. If you contact them, you can have classes and events listed in their Arthritis Finder resource tool, and so that's something that we also utilize. And so it's really just taking advantage of our networks and just giving this as a resource to community organizations, to clinics, to anybody to be able to refer people into when they encounter somebody who might benefit from the program.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And how about a cost for the program? Is it free?
In Oregon, it's free. Yes, we do have grant funding to support it. So when you sign up, you get a book free of charge, and all of the classes are free as well.
Excellent. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Have you noticed with the virtual programming, as you mentioned, you are a frontier state with quite a few rural people.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many of those people are participating in the virtual class, but is there ever any struggle with online connectivity and ability to get to the program?
That is a challenge with it being completely online based. The advantage to the virtual class is that we do offer a call-in option. So if folks don't have access to a computer, they can call in by phone, and they can receive all of the information verbally versus they don't have access to the PowerPoint, obviously, but I try to cover everything that's listed there. The challenge is that most of our sign up and enrollment is web-based, and so if we do have providers or community partners that are aware of the class, they can enroll the participant for them or contact us to get them enrolled. And we do list a phone number on that flyer so people can call to sign up as well. But that does occasionally become a problem. And then the other side of it is just that technology is great when it works, but it's very challenging when it doesn't. And so there's actually been a couple of classes that we've facilitated and we've done it the same as all the other weeks, but for some reason the technology isn't working that week and we have issues with the audio or the PowerPoint, and there's just, you kind of have to roll with it. Yeah.
Great. Well, I think that's been a really innovative approach to that program, and we look forward to learning more about how that virtual program continues to evolve and how it continues to be used by you and maybe some others in the field. What, Allison, just to end on on your questions, and then we'll move on to Anita, and then we'll have a question and answer period at the end. But just to wrap up, what kind of has been the primary outcome or lessons learned from what you've done with those weekly email engagements?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think one of the biggest lessons is, like I said, the evaluation. It's just going to be challenging to get evaluation regardless, but when you provide extra support, and then we also provide my contact information, they can reach out to us at Oregon State for questions. That always helps to add some support for them. And then the automation of the emails. But I think the biggest thing is that just providing this extra, like I said, the extra support for participants, especially rural frontier participants, they seem to be better engaged in the program when they have that weekly reminder, weekly information, and they can access it readily without having to search it independently. So we're still learning, but we're enjoying the process, and it's been really fun to see some of the feedback we've gotten.
Wonderful. Do you have any plans to create kind of a document or something that shares your lessons learned throughout the process? Or are you just kind of continuing to build and evolve over time within your organization?
I think a combination of both. We're definitely continuing to build and grow, but we've also been available to other states that are implementing Walk with Ease as a resource. And so I'm always happy to talk with people independently, kind of help them through the process. We've worked with Washington and South Dakota. And so we're here as a resource. We're willing to share our weekly emails. They're very easily modifiable for different organizations in different states. And so that's something we're happy to share, so we don't have to, reinvent the wheel, right? If something works, why change it? So, yeah, my contact information is on the screen, and please feel free to reach out to me if you have questions.
Great. Thanks, Allison. And her emails are also on the OA Alliance website as a community resource, so you can find them there as well. But we really appreciate your willingness to share all of this information, Allison. Like you said, not having to recreate the wheel is huge, especially when we're all working on limited budgets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go on right now to Anita, and it looks like she's included Allison's contact information here. She's filling in for Allison today on our presentation. So Anita, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Great. Why don't you go ahead and give just a brief overview of the Walk with Ease initiative at the Detroit Area Agency on Aging?
Sure. The Detroit Area Agency on Aging has been involved in implementing evidence-based programs in our community for the last 10 years. And when we found the opportunity to apply for a grant with the Osteoarthritis Action Alliance to implement Walk with Ease, we were really excited. So what we did is we currently fund 4 community wellness service centers. So we approached 2 of our senior wellness centers and asked if they would be interested in taking part in this initiative, and they were really eager. So that's how we set that up with our wellness centers.
Excellent. And have you been primarily offering the group version, or have you done the self-directed as well?
Well, we did one self-directed, but we found out that because we're working primarily with older adults, 60 years of age and older, and some folks are well into their 80s and 90s, a lot of them like that socialization aspect of getting together with others and commiserating and talking about their successes and challenges. So for us, the instructor-led program worked out a lot better.
Great. And that is true of anywhere in the United States. It's nice to have the option of having either the group version or the self-directed. I imagine in an urban area like yours, where perhaps transportation is not quite the issue, it is nice to be able to get together with a group of people.
Right.
Tell me a little bit more about the partnerships that you've developed. How did you create those? It sounds like they were kind of ones that you had already begun to nurture. what was the appeal to those partners of offering the Walk with Ease program?
So as I mentioned previously, we've been offering evidence-based programs for quite some time. So at these two particular wellness centers, it was kind of same old, same old. We were doing enhanced fitness on a regular basis, but that class is really for people who are in better physical shape. We offer a matter of balance, but they wanted something new and different. So when this opportunity came up, they were really excited to take part in this. And the way we promoted it, we said that, well, this will appeal to folks who have arthritis, but even if you don't have arthritis now, as we get older, our gait isn't the same, things change, and this would be a good way to make sure that you stay physically fit and active, because we're all about promoting healthy aging here in Detroit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That was how we got our other partners engaged. And another thing we did is we purchased retractable banners. They're 8-foot banners that have photos of older adults walking, and we have the Walk with Ease logo and the logo for the area agency, and each site's logo is on there. So these are right in the entrance areas of both of our wellness centers, so that when people come in, they see Walk with Ease. So
wow.
we thought that would be a good way to promote. We know that when people see things, when you just talk about it in passing, Walk with Ease, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll think about it. But when they see this huge banner, it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should take part in that. Mm-hmm. And we also purchased some other little tchotchkes. We got these neck wallets that had the Walk with Ease logo and the area agency logo that they could put around their neck and put their ID and their keys maybe on their phone, so that when they went walking around, they would have all that with them and not have to think about, oh, do I have my keys in my pocket? So that was really a great way to promote the program as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So one of the things that some of our listeners might be wondering is, a walking program in Detroit might be challenging with the weather. And I would love to hear how you have managed, finding a place to walk in inclement weather.
So yeah, it is challenging. Actually, we had really good weather up till December. Mm-hmm. And part of this year, we got slammed. But when it gets cold, people are reluctant to walk outside. Also, when they walk outside, sometimes the sidewalks are not in good shape. So there is a facility here in Detroit called the Lexus Velodrome, which is an indoor walking and biking facility. So this gave the seniors, at least from the St. Patrick Senior Center, which is located in Midtown Detroit, they were able to go and participate and walk on this track at no cost. It was very close to the center, so it was easy access. And they really loved it. But truthfully, our attendance did drop off during the winter time. We had much better success in the warmer weather.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful that you had that option to have that indoor space. And that is something that we've heard from a number of our grantees, that if you're anywhere that has weather either too hot or too cold, having that alternative walking space is going to be key to retaining your participants. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, that was a big help.
Yeah, one of the other things, Anita, that we were really impressed with was the Fidelity Monitoring. And basically, as we've mentioned, this is an evidence-based program, so maintaining the program structure, the sessions, all of the information is really important to contributing to appropriate outcomes, or the research proven outcomes of the program. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've done around Fidelity Monitoring for Walk with Ease?
Sure. So again, because we've been offering evidence-based programs through the area agency for so many years, we go out to the sites for any of our programs when the classes are going on or workshops are going on, to monitor at least once a year for all of the programs, just to make sure that the facilitators are doing the program the way it was created and that they're maintaining fidelity. So Allison and I did go out to the sites when they were offering Walk with Ease. just to see how they did it, make sure that they were doing the warm-ups appropriately, and to see how they were implementing the program at their site. And so any challenges that we came up with or that we saw, what we did is we had a few meetings with our facilitators. We brought them over to our offices to talk about what was going well, and to also bring up to them, well, you know what, when we came out to see you, we noticed this, and can you explain why this happened this way? And then we'd go back and go over the guidelines for the program. So again, for us, we're really sticklers for fidelity, so we kind of pounded it into their heads. Mm-hmm. We were going to be coming out, and it's really important for the integrity of the program to offer the program the way it is structured.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. And when you were recruiting your leaders for the program, can you tell me a little bit about the characteristics of the leaders that you recruited? I imagine that had some impact on your ability to train successful leaders and to keep fidelity to the program.
Sure. Well, we kind of left it up to the centers to select the persons that they wanted to have trained for the program. One site, we had a person who was active in many programs, and she teaches belly dancing and drum cardio, so she understood, she knew about evidence-based programs. The other person was a social worker, and I think we had a little more difficulty with her. I mean, she did offer the program, and we did go over, what we saw as some weaknesses, but we had a little more difficulty with her understanding that she had to stick to the program the way it was. And then our other site, both persons were trained in other evidence-based programs, so they were very familiar with making sure that they followed the procedures as they were written and maintaining fidelity. They understood the importance of that. But again, we did talk to everybody before we had them go for the training to make sure that they understood how this was going to work and how important it was for them to ensure the fidelity of the program.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Great. Yeah, understanding that that fidelity can be a real challenge for a number of programs. So it's great to hear that you're finding a solution that has worked with all of you. And I think having that dialogue around what happened and why it happened and how we can rein it back in is really important. That sounds great. Anita, any other just kind of lessons learned or anything else you want to share before we move on to our question and answer period?
Yeah, just one more thing. A couple of facilitators were really creative, the ones from the St. Patrick's Senior Center. So when the weather was nice, they did walk in the community here. Midtown Detroit has a lot of old historic buildings. So they encouraged all the participants to wear the same colored t-shirts, and they even brought music with them. And played it, and so everybody in the neighborhood was saying, "Oh, what are you doing? Where are you from? What's this all about?" And this was actually a nice recruiting tool, not only for Walk with Ease, but for the St. Patrick's Senior Center as well.
Absolutely.
So they were very creative in finding ways to make it fun for the participants. And additionally, Detroit, we have the Detroit River here, so there's a program called the Detroit River Walkers that takes place between May and September, where people can walk along the riverfront because the weather is nicer. So they also took the seniors by bus down to the riverfront so they could walk there. So they made it. They did this on their own. They just found different ways to keep the people engaged and taking part in the program. And I think that was really important. And we were really grateful that they were so creative.
Absolutely. That sounds wonderful. Really good visibility for the program and for the senior centers, and just for the idea of socializing and being active. It's great to see that, to hear that.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. So Anita, this is Allison's contact information, and she's the main one that you suggest getting in touch with at your AAA, correct?
Right. Since I retired, Allison is going to be the main contact person. Yeah.
Right. Well, we appreciate you coming out of retirement for this.
Well, I'm still doing part-time work, but this was my baby. I mean, I applied for this, and I'm really committed to it. So in the agency, we are going to continue to offer this program.
Excellent. That's so great to hear. Okay. Well, I am going to go ahead now and see if we have received any questions via the chat function. It looks like there aren't any quite yet. But I will just, while we're waiting, if any of you have a question to ask of either of our presenters or myself, I think Mary had to leave our discussion a little bit early today, but I'm happy to answer any questions as well. I did want to make a brief plug for the a website that we've created and a portal that we've created to promote the Self-Directed Walk with Ease program. If you go to www.walkwitharthritis.org, you can find out more about that opportunity. We are, for now, for a limited time, offering free books for self-directed Walk with Ease participants. So if this is something that you're interested in promoting in your agency, please feel free to share it widely with them.
I have a question for Allison at Oregon State University. I was wondering, you mentioned that you kind of internally had some feedback from the emails that you sent out, but I wondered if you had any participant comments or feedback as a result of those emails and the impact they had on the participants' participation.
Yeah, that's a great question. All of our evaluations are done online, and so we have had evaluation feedback on the program. I think most participants only go through the program once, so we don't really have like a before-after of like the old program versus the new program. But all of our evaluation within the last year has been based on that new model. And so I don't have kind of the statistics off the top of my head, but I'd be happy to share that with you outside of the call today, that we have received some feedback on it. Mm-hmm. And it has been mostly positive, which is good.
And I do want to mention that for those who sign up for the Self-Directed Walk with Ease through our online portal, the walkwitharthritis.org, they will be enrolled into a weekly email campaign, and it was Allison's wonderful work that helped guide us in creating those emails. So thank you, Allison.
Yeah, that's exciting to hear.
Yeah. I think we'll take one last call here for any questions for Allison or Anita or Serena. Well, thank you so much to all of our presenters today. It's been really interesting, and I think that we've all gotten some wonderful tips for implementing Walk with Ease, both in the group format as well as in the self-directed format. So thank you very much for your time and information today. And thanks to everyone for joining us. That will conclude our presentation today, but we hope that you'll join us on May 29th at noon Eastern Time, when our presenter will be Dr. Amanda Nelson from UNC Chapel Hill, presenting an overview of the Johnston County Osteoarthritis Project. Thank you so much, and everyone have a wonderful day.